The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives of various species filled the massive hall, its walls adorned with holographic projections of their homeworlds. Earth's newest diplomat, Daniel Graves, stood in the center, a calm yet imposing figure. Clad in the standard black suit of Terran diplomacy, he appeared unremarkable compared to the alien beings surrounding him, towering reptilians, shimmering energy beings, and multi-limbed insectoids. To the Galactic Council, humans were newcomers, an odd, fragile species from a backwater planet that had only recently been granted a seat at the table. Earth's history of violence and resilience was dismissed as primitive barbarism by many members who saw humanity as insignificant in the grand scheme of the galaxy. But Earth's representatives had thus far been surprisingly cooperative, emphasizing diplomacy over conflict. This bred a dangerous misconception. Humans were harmless. The Andorak representative, a hulking, wolf-like creature with silver fur and amber eyes, leaned forward, sneering. "Human," it growled, "your kind's incessant posturing tires this council. You are a weak species, better suited as subordinates. If not for your planet's mineral resources, you wouldn't even be here." Daniel's face remained expressionless, but his piercing blue eyes locked onto the Andorak with unsettling intensity. He responded with measured calm, his voice even. "Earth seeks peaceful cooperation, not conflict. We aim to contribute to the prosperity of all species within this council." The Andorak slammed its clawed hand on the table, its voice booming. "Spare us your platitudes. You stand here only because we allow it." It paused, leaning closer. "Perhaps you need a demonstration of what happens to those who overstep their place." Other council members shifted uneasily. While they often underestimated humans, the Andorak's disdain bordered on recklessness. Whispers spread through the chamber as the Andorak approached Daniel, towering over him. Without warning, it struck, an open-handed swipe meant to intimidate, though it still carried enough force to shatter stone. The room fell silent. Daniel didn't move, not a millimeter. The Andorak's claw stopped mere inches from his face, caught in a grip so tight the alien's knuckles cracked audibly. Slowly, deliberately, Daniel twisted the Andorak's wrist, forcing the towering creature to its knees. Gasps echoed through the chamber as the human diplomat leaned in, his voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "I came here in peace," he said, his tone devoid of emotion, "but if you touch me again, I will show you why my people tell stories about me to scare their children." The Andorak snarled, attempting to wrench free, but Daniel's grip was unyielding. His calm facade began to crack, revealing something darker. The air seemed to grow heavier, as if the very atmosphere recognized the shift in power. Even the most battle-hardened council members, beings who had faced galactic wars, felt a primal chill. The tension snapped as Daniel released the Andorak, who stumbled backward, cradling its injured wrist. The human adjusted his suit, smoothing the fabric as though nothing had happened. His gaze swept across the room, now filled with silent, wide-eyed representatives. "I am Daniel Graves," he said, his voice carrying a weight that seemed to fill every corner of the chamber. "And while I represent Earth as a diplomat, do not mistake me for a man who only knows words. My people call me Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, for a reason. The enemies I've faced no longer exist to tell their stories." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Some whispered in their native tongues, speaking of ancient Terran myths that seemed to match the humans' ominous demeanor. Others remained silent, their fear palpable. Daniel continued, stepping closer to the central podium. "Humanity came to this council in good faith, seeking allies and cooperation. But we are not defenseless. Do not mistake our willingness to negotiate for weakness. We know war better than any of you can imagine, and we are very, very good at it." The Andorak attempted to interject, but a single glance from Daniel silenced it. The human's gaze was not one of anger or aggression. It was far worse. It was cold, calculating, the look of a predator assessing its prey. "You attacked a diplomat," Daniel said, addressing the entire room. "An act of war under your own laws. But I will not call for retribution. Not because we fear you, but because we value peace. If this happens again, however, Earth will respond. And I assure you, none of you are prepared for that. The chamber remained silent as Daniel turned and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed, each one a reminder of the encounter that had just transpired. Representatives who had dismissed humanity as insignificant now saw them in a new light, not as fragile newcomers, but as a species with a terrifying potential for violence held in check by sheer will. As the doors closed behind him, one of the elder council members, an ancient being with translucent skin and glowing eyes, broke the silence. "What have we done by inviting them here?" it murmured. No one dared to answer. In the corridors outside, Daniel allowed himself a faint smile. He had made his point. Earth would not be underestimated again.